Pro Jared's a dick.
Lazy people sleep.
Now, did you know that they debunked the myth that you need 8 hours of sleep? They say you're supposed to have 5 to 6.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Is that, like 5 to 6. I've heard that. I can't
You
remember
only
where
need to
it
hit
was.
one full REM cycle, and then you don't
But
need
they
any
said,
more.
they said that like 6 is like the optimal amount of sleep.
Yeah,
Because
for adults
if you-
anyway.
oh,
For adults, that should be
So.
noted. But yes, I read that somewhere that 5 to 6 is where you should probably aim for. 8 you start to oversleep, and then it starts to affect you.
Oh, gotcha.
So
I personally, I need to get at least 5 hours of sleep, but I try to aim for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm,
So yeah,
I
always
hate you
do that.
people that can sleep normal.
What are you talking about? I sleep from noon to 8. I get 8 hours of sleep a day.
I sleep 7 to 9:30
That's because you're a douche.
7
p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and then I go to work.
Oh, that's it?
What an idiot.
2.5 hours.
Otherwise, I lay on my couch all day just staring at the ceiling.
You're a
that's...
fool! Well, that was an interesting tidbit.
That was
There's
not
our-
really an interesting tidbit, but it was a tidbit nonetheless.
There's our opening.
Yes!
Welcome back!
Welcome back
to the Power Trip Gaming Powercast.
I'm not going to say anything because I wanted to
Oh, did you want to open it?
I wanted to open it, and you're just kind of jump right in.
All right, let me rewind that then. Let me bring that back. All right, here we go. Let's start that over. Welcome, everybody!
Welcome back to another episode of the Power Trip Gaming Powercast!
Now you're listening with power!
See, that felt so much better. Just kind of
Yeah.
screaming it out. Power Trip Gaming Powercast. Yeah,
That was beautiful.
it was.
Yes, it's another Powercast. Kevin's here. Obviously, he never leaves.
He never.
I'm all right with that.
He
I'm
never-
pretty much attached to this couch by now.
You
Pretty
are.
much.
It's like
You
Jabba
are
the
the
Hutt
couch.
with his couch.
He does have his own couch, doesn't he? Yeah.
He is our couch. Paul's on one leg. I'm on
That's
the
how
other.
they transport him.
Yeah, who's your salacious crumb?
What the fuck is a salacious crumb?
The little. You have never seen Star Wars, have you?
No, never. Wait, is Crumb that little fucker on the
He's the little guy
collar?
that laughs all the time.
Oh! I never knew he had a name.
Yeah, Salacious Crumb. And
Never. Yeah.
and Kevin pointed to me because I'm apparently Salacious Crumb, but
He's got the laugh
I
for
do
it.
have the laugh.
Does that make me Leia?
No, that makes you the Twi'lek that he's always got.
Bib Fortuna? His name is Bib Fortuna.
Da Shuba.
That's Jabba. Yeah.
I know.
No.
There was a. Did you ever play the Knights of the Old Republic game for the Xbox?
I haven't.
Both-
No.
Oh, we're
You
gonna play through
fucking
those.
idiot.
We're playing through those at some point.
We are going to play through
Yeah,
those.
I know.
They're
I
so
know that they're
good.
so good. I know.
But they have dialogue for the Twi'lek. What is it? Twi'leks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how you say?
Yeah.
Twi'leks or
Twi'lek.
something?
It's
Twi'lek.
Twi'leks.
Oh,
Twi'leks.
Twi'leks? Okay.
Yeah.
Like Twix, but you throw a whatever.
Yeah, you throw a lick in
Oh
there.
yeah, like a tongue. Ah! Well, that's a different tangent.
We're gonna try not to do Pokemon.
Get
tangents
back
on this
to
show.
it!
Oh no, it's gonna happen because I already have the
know.
next topic of conversation.
Oh god.
No, but the Twi'leks have dialogue, and it's funny because even though the words are all different, obviously, because you know conversations,
Sure.
the words they say are all the same.
Oh,
Because
sure,
it's
sure.
like I don't think there's an actual language for them. Like there's an actual Klingon language. Like I don't think they have an actual language. Like did they
No,
ever
'cause
create one?
He speaks, yeah, Bib Fortuna speaks it in
They have and
Return of the Jedi.
What is the Rodian?
The Rodian was...
They
is
have
like
their
what
own
Greedo
language
is.
too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they actually have language.
And it was flushed out.
The Hutts have their own language. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
not.
called Huttese or something
It's
like
not
that.
as like in depth as like Klingon or Elvish, but they have like an actual like setup.
Like a
a
to it.
dialect,
structure.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. But maybe back in the early Xbox days they didn't have one yet. But yeah,
Or it was just too much audio and they just fucked it
there's
with
a
it.
lot of audio. Ooh, the Twilight women, baby. Whew.
But,
Whew.
Always hookers. Always.
Those poor girls.
but I mean, you do have other like main characters too, like Baba D. Flats. Disclaimer: Baba D. Flats is not a real Star Wars character.
What kind of fucking name is that? Oh. But anyway.
Sorry, I can't stop going back to that.
What the fuck? Oh, man.
I'm listening.
In case anybody's wondering, there's a channel we watch. We don't watch it per se, but
actually,
You probably put more views on that channel than anyone.
Andy watches it at least once a day.
at least once a day. It's called Airsoft Fatty is the name of the channel, and just Google or YouTube search Jedi Conceal Meeting.
Yes,
that's right.
Conceal.
CONCEAL. Conceal, as if I'm concealing my identity from you.
Yes.
Jedi Conceal, and you'll it's priceless.
It's so funny.
It's so funny. That's where a lot of our one-liners have been coming from lately. Is that?
Don't say ours.
Well, but me and Paul.
I was gonna say.
Me and Andy go back and forth a lot with it.
It's just so funny.
Oh God.
One guy is just such a typical stoner.
Oh, he's so high off. Like, is so high off his ass.
Wow.
Oh, it's so funny, and he's just sitting there staring. It's like, oh God.
So obviously, as you guys know, the Pokemon movie came out. I know you said you didn't want to speak about Pokemon, but the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie came out. What was that? Last week, the week before? I don't remember.
Friday. Yep.
Last Friday. I haven't seen it. Obviously,
I haven't yet either.
I plan on going to see it next week or next weekend, from this recording or whatever. But I want your guys. We watched the trailers, obviously, you and I and us. The more I watched it, like I was excited about it at first. And now, like, the more I'm looking at the models of the Pokemon, I'm like...
The more you're not liking it?
The more I'm not liking it, because everything looks fuzzy. Mm-hmm. It's just... It's very strange. Like, the way they animated them, like, everything looks hairy. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's just an artistic style.
I guess.
Mewtwo doesn't.
No?
Charizard doesn't.
No, even Charizard looks weirdly hairy. Like, everything's, like, fuzzy looking.
It could just be the way that they animated it. I mean,
maybe.
Or it could be the compression of whatever video you're watching it on.
Or what you were seeing it. Yeah, because you were watching it, like, online or something like that. That could have been it.
Yeah, it could have been, I suppose.
But yeah, it might be different in the theater, but...
I heard the movie is super good, though.
All I heard is... So it's based on the game Detective Pikachu.
Right.
And it was not able to... So it just opened up last Friday. It was not able to overtake Avengers Endgame.
No shit.
Nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
but Avengers has already been in theaters for like 3 weeks. You'd think that it would start kind of dropping down, especially with Detective Pikachu and
I mean,
people wanting getting into that.
Can anything really beat that movie at this point?
To be quite honest, I knew it was
John
gonna
Wick will kill it tonight.
No,
it won't.
I knew it was going to be
As much as I wanted to.
It was gonna be a powerhouse movie.
powerhouse movie. I never would have foreseen that it literally overtook Titanic as the second most highest grossing movie.
Domestically, I think only.
No, worldwide.
No, because I'm pretty sure, pull up the thing. When fully adjusted for inflation, it's not in the top 3 worldwide. Domestically, it is, as far as I'm aware.
I think you're wrong.
Avenger.
You're always wrong, Paul.
So I know you saw it.
I did.
You saw it last weekend. You've seen it, right?
Yes. Of course I saw it. Saw it opening weekend.
I don't care to see it, so I'll let you guys discuss a little bit. Sorry.
Did you pay $5,000 for your ticket for opening day?
No, I went Saturday instead of Friday.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they were saying like tickets for opening day in like places like New York and Los Angeles, like tickets were selling for like $10,000 on eBay. I'm like, why would you be that stupid? Like, you literally want to pay this much just to go see it opening day?
Maybe if I had more money than brains, but
That could be. But yes, from what I heard, like within 2 weeks, it had already grossed over $2 billion. And it's now the only movie that has grossed more is Avatar. But I can tell you right now,
it's close to kicking.
This is gonna kick Avatar out. And I think it's gonna gross.
The only thing is, like, the numbers I had seen for Avatar didn't include the second run or something like that, because Avatar came back to theaters multiple times.
Yes, it did.
So the numbers I had seen don't include those.
And one thing that was
can you find it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I don't think that Avatar ran in 2D either. I think it was only in 3D, which would have like artificially pumped up its numbers.
So according to this, Avengers Endgame is currently the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time at the domestic box office. $738 million in 20 days, behind Avatar, which has 760, and Star Wars The Force Awakens at $937 million.
I can't believe that one made that much.
John Wick 3 box office to dethrone Avengers Endgame.
Huh.
I'm saying if you adjust for inflation and stuff too, other stuff.
Domestic, it's
yes.
the third highest, but worldwide, it's the second highest.
Yeah, it's worldwide's also
Yeah, let me look up worldwide.
Because I remember them saying that it kicked Titanic out of number 2, and the only one that it's behind is Avatar.
Oops, I said worldwide.
Which when you think about it, Avatar, like I remember that one being in theaters for like months. It was
one of the movies that was like the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Type thing. Because, it was in theaters for very long. It took forever for it to release on DVD and stuff like that. And then it came back to theaters for multiple runs. So. What?
Let's see. Avengers Endgame is nothing less than worldwide. Who cares? Has smashed all kinds of box office records on its run to the $2 billion mark. At this point, Endgame has climbed to the number 2 spot on the highest-grossing films of all time, leaving just one more to beat Avatar. Avatar is $2.8 billion, and Avengers is at $2.4 at this point.
And it's
when was that article written?
May 15th.
Okay.
And it literally has only been in theaters for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's,
I know it's
since April 26th, I think. Yeah.
A big portion of it, like China, I guess all their theaters were selling out, but that's also where the biggest pirating market is.
Oh, is it really? Oh.
So they're they can't confirm it because obviously no one's in those theaters to check it, but they were saying that basically that it's because the Chinese theaters kept selling out and there were people recording it and doing getting copies of it and
getting it for the bootleg
for pirating and stuff like that. So but then again, all the big movies that have to go actually can be shown in China, that kind of happens to them anyways. So
it's pretty crazy though. It's they say totally. It's a cinematic milestone.
So, but actually that reminds me, though, speaking of you talking about Detective Pikachu and how you don't like the Pokemon because they have that fuzzy, hairy tinge to it. What did you think of the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer?
I loved it. I thought it was the most hilarious looking cinema I've ever seen, and I want to put it on our bad movie night list when it comes out.
So you can laugh all you want. I do.
Oh my god!
I do agree with everybody that Sonic looked a little bit too human for his own good.
He looks ridiculous.
He looked pretty bad. He looked really bad.
Yes.
However,
Eggman looked pretty good.
Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, I was
perfect.
I was
skeptical about it.
I was skeptic, and especially when they first. In the beginning, they show him with hair. He looks all kempt and stuff like that, and I thought, why does he have hair? And it's frickin' Jim Carrey probably just insisted that he would not go bald for this role. And as it's going on, you can see him getting more and more kind of disheveled and more
and then he ends
more Robotnik. And then at the very end, he puts on the goggles and he's got the really big bushy mustache, and he is bald. And I'm just he's literally the spitting image of Dr. Robotnik.
Size-wise,
Dr. Ivo Robotnik.
Yeah.
He's not as fat as he is in the games, but to be honest, it's one of those things where that's never been a major aspect of him. It's just kind of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So
I just thought it looked ridiculous.
But it made me think of that because Sonic was he actually, when I first saw that, he actually did have that appearance where it's almost like that furry, but I guess he's supposed to be furry, but it's almost I don't know. It's there was something just off about the way, the texture of him.
My biggest question with it is they, due to how big the backlash was for he looks like shit, change him. Mm-hmm. They're going through and re-editing the entire movie. How much is that going to cost them?
I honestly...
At this point, I don't see how that movie can make money.
Do you know how big the Sonic fan base really is? The Sonic fan base,
big, though?
it's enormous.
Is it?
People love the fuck out of Sonic. How many shitty games of Sonic have come out and they're still making them?
Yeah, but
and people still love them.
It does, no.
Yes.
But no. But see, do they love them because they're Sonic games, or do they love them for the train wreck that Sonic is?
They love them ironically.
Okay.
But that's still a fan base.
Yeah,
That's like people who love cult horror movies that aren't by any means objectionably
movies.
good.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know what I mean? And Sonic is kind of falls into that where it's such a disaster.
So bad it's
I just
good.
want to watch it. And you have those diehard fans that just love that shit.
But I know that they scored huge points in the public's eyes in the
We're
fan
saying,
base
hey, we listened to
because
you.
It's basically there was a large backlash of like, why does Sonic look this way? He looks ridiculous. He looks too human. He actually looks creepy. And
Just as
basically
creepy as
the
Lickitung.
director went on social media and said, "You've spoken. We've listened to you. We are going to take this into account, and we are going to make this the best movie that we can, and we're going to fix it for you guys." This movie comes out in November. Like, that's
Holy
hardly,
shit.
That's hardly any time to fix
Well,
this.
actually, there was one little like conspiracy theory I had heard about the movie, was that they released a trailer that used his early footage and design
Oh, gotcha.
so that they could release it, get the backlash, and then they
Look
could
like
look
heroes.
the
Like
good
heroes.
guys
That's
by saying, "Hey, no, we heard you. We changed him," and like not tell anyone that this is old footage that he doesn't even look like that
It's
anymore.
already changed. Yeah, that's actually what I thought at first too, is because at first you see how bad he actually looks, and I'm like, you know what? They're probably sitting pretty. Like, all they would have to do is just say like, "Oh, sorry guys, like, yeah, we'll fix this for the real movie." It's like, no, it actually is already fixed. It's just that they want to kind of be the heroes in the
whole, any press is
public
good
opinion.
press.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I did like how like the effects looked like when he ran, like the sparks and shit going through the spines.
yeah.
Like that looked really cool. Like I like the idea
Leaving
of
the
it.
spines behind and stuff like that.
The weird thing was him
But-
with the teleporting ring.
Well, of course, but I mean they had to incorporate rings in there somehow, right?
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if did they say
Chaos
something about
Emeralds?
Chaos Emeralds
I don't
in
know.
there?
I don't
didn't
recall
really
them saying anything about Chaos Emeralds.
You would
but
think they'd
it's
have
gotta
to.
have to. It's gotta be a
I mean, the
part.
Chaos Emeralds are centric to damn near every Sonic game. You'd have
You mean
to.
the Infinity Stones?
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all they are.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah,
Because
but
the first Sonic came out in 1990.
so for the Master System, right?
You know what? Actually, no. Well, the first one was for Sega. They did a port of it for the Sega Master System.
Oh,
But Sega Genesis was the first
I
one.
always thought the Master System came first.
No.
I never remember.
No. It's like what they do with like Mario games, where it's like it'll come out on multiple systems and stuff.
Oh.
That's what they did with Sonic.
Hmm.
Yeah. But if that came out in 1990, I really want to say that Infinity Gauntlet came out in 1991. So that means that the Chaos Emeralds actually do predate the Infinity.
And they have no
Gems.
appearance prior to that?
I don't think so. I don't. There was the Thanos Quest was like a 2-issue series, like a 48 page, like each issue prestige format. And I think that was the first appearance of the Infinity Gems. So I think maybe.
What, any no references to him before that or anything?
I don't think so, because that was a Jim Starlin thing, and that really pretty much kicked off Infinity Gauntlet.
That
He's in
cocksucker.
the movie?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I pointed it out.
He played Sonic the Hedgehog and was like, you know what? These are pretty freaking cool. So there you guys go. This fucking Endgame bullshit. You can thank Sonic for it.
Yep, actually you can.
Thank Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
That's where, Chaos Emeralds
No, I
were-
definitely want to dig into that and see,
They were the basis for the Infinity Gems, which were then, in turn, the inspiration for the Infinity Stones of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know why they changed them from gems to stones.
Yeah, what to say? Wasn't that War of the Gems or whatever?
Well,
Well,
they're-
War of the
where's
Gems was the Super Nintendo game.
not to
That's
mention,
right.
in
But they were
MCU, they're
Infinity
not
Gems.
really stones or gems. They're whatever they want to be.
They're just like rocks.
Well, but you got to remember, the Aether has no form. It's that red goo, like, energy thing. It can take whatever shape it wants.
It's like that red goo.
Nasty goo.
I'll give you some white goo.
It's like the goo that's underneath the streets of New York in Ghostbusters 2.
That was just from too much Taco Bell.
Pure concentrated evil, a.k.a. Taco Bell.
Oh, God. Well, that was a good start to this episode. Holy shit. But anyway, so Free Comic Book Day happens the first Saturday of May every year. Paul and I go to our local comic book store. We set up a booth.
Our local what?
Comic book store.
Oh, okay.
What'd you think I
He's
said?
just being an idiot.
It's just the way that you said it. Our local comic book store.
Like you had something in the mouth when you were saying it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a dick, but it was a dick.
It could be.
Good times.
Always glad to have you on, Kevin. But we set up a booth there. We have people come and play Nintendo and relive childhood memories and stuff like that. We have a good time. We promote the channel, obviously, because what would be the point?
Other than just interacting with people and being kind to others and making their day special by getting to relive their childhood.
Yeah, that's what
with
Nintendo
their children.
We always get the common mistake that we sell things there for some reason. People always think we're selling Nintendo games.
I know. We need to set up a booth there to actually sell shit.
We do not sell things. We do not sell these games. Like that guy almost ripped the cartridge right out of the system for some reason.
Oh my god. I can't believe he did that.
That was funny.
Oh, that poor
kid.
Let me preface this. So we had somebody who was playing Super Mario Brothers 3. They were having a really good time, and this guy just walks up and he's like, "Oh, hey, look at that! What's that?" And he literally grabs the Super Mario Brothers 3 cart while it's in the system, while it's on, while the kid's playing it, and he tries to pull it out, which of course causes the system to crash and the game has to be restarted. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, have you ever played a Nintendo before? Like, do you not know how this works?
It was really funny.
Like, oh god.
Like you could see the light, right? The
Yeah.
light's on. Clearly, this kid is playing it next to you, and he was just, I mean, he struggled to pull it out because my Nintendo is kind of janky.
It's janky.
And he was really tugging on it. I'm like, what? I should have said something, but I was
too,
so...
but I'm just like, I was so like...
You're dumbfounded at that point.
Yeah.
You're like, is this
I was
reality?
so taken aback. I'm like, what are
What's happening right now?
Like, you can't possibly be trying to pull this game out.
Dude, are you shitting on my chest right now? What are you doing? Like, it's just like, what the fuck? But it was something. But anyway, that's what we do. And it's a really good time. We always have an extremely... What are your experiences with it, Paul? I'm all flustered.
Honestly, I know the people that own the comic shop that we go to. Are we saying their name or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. It's Rockheads.
So we go to Rockheads, the local comic shop, and they love. Paul's been going there for years to buy comics.
I have.
Goes every month?
So-
10 years.
Wow.
So, and even before they were at the location they're currently at. So, but like they really love having us there, and like I know basically as soon as it's over, they're like, "So you guys are basically you're gonna be here next year for it and stuff like that." So.
It's always a blast.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge comic book guy, but I love just the atmosphere of being there. The people that come in really are extremely nice. Even the people who run the store are always extremely welcoming and friendly, and we absolutely love that stuff.
And they gave us cookies.
They
Oh
did.
yeah, and sloppy joes, baby.
And they gave us food, and our free comic book day shirts actually didn't even have to pay for them too. Rockheads was they gave us those shirts for free. So, but yeah, Rockheads. I've been going there for years, but it's such a welcoming environment where it really feels like when you get to know the people there and the people who are working there, like they treat everybody as like their customers, even just guests. They treat them like family. It's almost like you're just kind of having a conversation with somebody who you're really
It's
close
like you're going to your aunt and uncle's house almost.
Exactly.
And that's actually
yeah.
one of the reasons I like Rockheads compared to some of the other comic shops I've been in. Like, you go into some comic shops, and they always had, like, the people working there and stuff always seem like they have that attitude of, you know, I'm here, I'm better than you.
Like snobby-ish.
Either that
And-
or buy something or get out.
Yeah, they're very, like, this elitist almost mentality, but you go to Rockheads, Yeah, and it's like going to a family member's house and, you know, getting to see them and do stuff, so it's kind of nice. It's very...
And they try to do what they can to, like, give back to the community, too. I know that Rockhead's just started a summer readership program.
Oh, yeah, for kids.
Yeah, for kids and young adults, too, where they can basically get a comic book a month that they can read, and they can discuss it, and they have these like these forums so that they can
like
actually...
a book club.
Yeah, it's like a book club. Yeah, but with...
It's almost the Pizza Hut style.
Book it!
Yeah, they also work to, what is it, Kindred Kitties?
Yeah, and
all the time.
They support Kindred Kitties. They've done a lot of charity events for Kindred Kitties, raising money for the animal shelters. So I mean, it's just they're such a good place, and yeah, like you said, I mean, when they appreciate our the time and investment that we put into just being there, when it truly feels like we're the ones who are honored and so full of gratitude and so thankful that they want us there every year, because we've just, ever since we did it the first year, we've just had an absolute blast with it, and it's been such a great experience.
Yeah, we've done giveaways, and I remember when the NES Classic came out and they were extremely hard to find. We managed to get our hands on one and we raffled one of those off. That was really cool. We've done challenges where people come in, you know, we have a list of challenges, like get so many lines in Tetris, or we had the Nintendo World Championship.
Yep. Or last year we did a versus like challenge Paul and Andy, where it's like play a game that you like, or do something where it's them going up against us.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I really enjoyed doing that, but nothing beats, and I think you guys will agree with me, there's something to be said about when a family comes up and the mom and dad be like, oh, it's fucking Mario Brothers. This is the shit we used to play when we were kids, you know, talking to their children, and you watch the children try to play it, and they are just terrible. Watching how many people fail
which is funny,
Super Mario Brothers and Punch-Out and all these games that we grew up with just having to figure out on our own, and these kids just cannot grasp it.
Well, the funny thing is, like the Nintendo controller is not that far off from, like, the Wii controller or, like, the Switch controllers, and yet still seeing, like, little kids who play those systems pick up an NES controller and look at it like it is the most foreign object in the world.
It's so complicated with the two buttons.
Yeah.
One thing I was so blown away at is that hardly any kids, and by hardly I mean I don't think a single kid, was able to get a game started because they didn't press start. It says on the screen, press start, and I'm like, okay, and now you just have to press the start button, and they're just kind of like looking at the screen, then looking down at the control. I'm like, the start button's right there in the middle, and it's like, oh, okay, and you push the start button, and then the game gets started. It's like, there's literally 4 buttons on here.
Well, yeah,
there's A, B, there's start, and select. And when it says press start, you push the one that says start.
Which is, well, to be fair, now modern games it'll say press start or press any button.
Yeah, any button. Yeah.
Yeah, and
exactly.
It's like, oh, come on now.
So it's fun to really see the
generational difference.
the generational gap of that, but
just the disparity between skill.
But the thing that always gets me, and the thing that always makes it so worthwhile, is I love the fact that Nintendo, I think more than any system, really transcends time, because it really bridges the gap between parents and their kids.
Oh yeah.
Because the kids, obviously, they see a video game, they know what a video game is because they've grown up in an era where there's video games all around them.
Right.
And it's become this humongous juggernaut of an industry that wasn't quite like this when we were kids.
No.
So now it's something that's mainstream, almost not too dissimilar from movies and cinema, and so they know a game when they see it. They want to play it just because it's a video game. I want to play it, and their parents will see the video game and they'll think, "Oh my God, this is what I played when I was your age, and now you get a chance to play it now too." And it's such a good feeling that you've got the parents who remember this as when they were kids, but now they get to share that with their kids. And then it starts sparking that, hey, you know what? I think we've got our old Nintendo in the basement. You know what? We're going to have to get this out, and we'll play it when we get home. And it just kind of opens up that doorway almost to like a different time, a simpler time, and just all around just good feelings associated with
just that look on their faces they get when they see that Nintendo and recognize what it is, and they're like, oh crap, like this,
I haven't seen this in years. I haven't played this game in years.
Battletoads.
The funny thing is though, like as soon as they see the game though, they instantly recognize what game's on the screen.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Was
stuff
a
like
big
that.
one.
So
Tetris was another big one.
Battletoads.
Contra.
Battletoads, a lot of people were like, oh my god, Battletoads, and they know that it's like, this is the hardest game ever.
Yeah, it's really it's truly rewarding. I do really love it when people come up and play it, and they're not great at it sometimes, but they still enjoy themselves.
It is fun too watching the kids try to play games that don't assist you the way modern games do.
Yeah.
So like modern, like Mario Odyssey compared to like Mario Brothers 3, night and day in terms of like difficulty and stuff that. So, like, they're so used to how the game is basically assisting you the entire time with the newer stuff that they go to the old ones and, like, they just quickly tap A and just a little short jump right into a pit.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know, okay, well, I gotta do the sprint and hold the button to do the jumps and stuff like that.
So, there's a thing on Facebook on some of the pages. I see it a lot, but it's, shows the most deadly enemy in video game history, and it shows that very first Goomba in Super Mario Brothers. They said this little fucker has claimed more lives from Mario over the years from 1, people not knowing how to play the game, 2, people not paying enough attention, or 3, just because he's there and you don't expect it. And they said over the years that little guy has probably killed more people than any other game or any other enemy in history.
Well, it's so funny because one of the, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody with Nintendo, and somebody like higher up basically went on record saying that 90% of kids, if they played it nowadays, would not be able to beat level 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers. 90% of people, or of gamers today, children, would not be able to beat that level. And it's
I believe it.
And it's like, well, as kids, that was the first starting level. You learn everything. It becomes one of the easiest levels, but yet nowadays, like, it's 90% of people can't even complete the first level.
And I was thinking about that because this is an age like where Fortnite is super big and like these arena these battle royale games and stuff, and it's like there are these people in them, like the real famous people like Ninja, and you have all these people on like Facebook who Facebook Live themselves playing Fortnite shit. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's such a difference in skill that's heralded now compared to when we were young. Like, and I'm willing to bet people like that Ninja and shit, like, I don't think they could do what we're doing.
Oh, no.
Do you think they could pick up some of these Nintendo games and be as proficient at them as they are in fucking Fortnite or whatever? And it's like, it's such a different mindset and a different skill set.
Well, I'm going to say it's cultivated different aspects of gaming, because, the modern, like, Twitch shooter, like, people, like, that's very... It's a very different type of hand-eye coordination than what you need for playing, like, Nintendo games.
Yeah, and it almost all started with, like, Halo. Well, I suppose Doom would really kind of...
No, I was actually going to say Halo really changed that dynamic because of the fact that games nowadays, you basically finish, or you play a game, you die, you just respawn, and you come back. Yeah. And Halo is one of the very first games I remember doing that, where it's like, if you die, you'll just respawn. You'll start back at the checkpoint, and
there were games with checkpoints prior to that.
There were, but there were checkpoints, and if you died enough times, you got the game over. And so it's like you basically had unlimited chances to beat this. You just had to get through it, basically.
Yeah. Hence why Alec, or my younger brother in BioShock, literally wrenched a Big Daddy to death because they had things called Vita chambers. As soon as you died, you just popped up in the Vita chamber and everything stayed the same.
Yeah.
So all the damage you did, all the people you took out, they're all still gone. So he would just wrench them, get killed, pop back up, go over there, hit him again, because there's no consequence.
Well, he just wanted to see what, and like he wasn't doing it just to be like, have fun. He was just doing it to see if it was possible. Mm-hmm. And it just happened.
Oh yeah.
But even Halo had, I mean, unless you played on, what was it, Legendary, I think was the highest difficulty, where things actually did reset. And I actually like the way Halo, did that start in Halo 2, where if either player died, it reset the entire thing? Or was that in the first one?
I think that was in the first one as well. Because I think that's what made Legendary so hard was if one person died, you both had to jump back.
I want to say it was something that started in 2, because I seem to remember a lot in 1. My younger brother and I, one guy would just hang back in a safe area, the other guy would run out, kill some shit, get killed, and then you'd respawn next to him because you're in a safe area.
I don't know. I played Halo was more of just getting together and playing multiplayer for me. Mm-hmm. I really didn't care too much about the single player for it.
No, but that was one thing. You're right. I feel like Halo kind of pioneered even just the FPS genre in general.
Well, by no means was it the first FPS.
No. But
the first one that really kind of put things on the map for first-person shooters, I would say Wolfenstein 3D did.
Think so?
Because then right after that, maybe I think it was like a year later, ID Software did Doom, and then Doom really even though it was popular, I don't think it had really taken off until Halo came out. And Halo redefined the whole first-person shooter thing. But anyways,
I feel like it shot it.
I don't know, because Doom caused an entire genre to spawn. Halo didn't, because after Doom, that was the format to copy. I mean, like I said, Blood, Hexen.
It was, but here's my thought behind it, is that Doom was it
I mean, unless you're talking accessibility, and then Halo, I would say Halo for multiplayer.
And that's what I'm getting at.
Okay, then yes, I totally agree
Doom
with that aspect.
Definitely, I think that was the revolutionary first-person shooter. That's the one that was insane. It put first-person shooters as its own genre. But it was still really only well known in gaming and
PC.
PC, but it's the people who are gamers, those were the ones that were just going crazy over this. It wasn't really widespread. Halo is, and then everything else after that, like Hexen and Quake, that was all just basically clones of Doom. But then Halo is what really elevated it to the masses. It wasn't just gamers who knew about Halo. It was everybody knew about Halo.
Because I hate FPSs, but even I loved Halo. I feel like Halo was that game that brought FPSs to everybody.
And it wasn't just the diehard gamers or the PC players and stuff.
I suppose in that aspect. But in Halo also, we have Microsoft and Halo to thank for
that's true.
Online multiplayer, even local.
Correct.
Stuff like that.
Halo essentially was
pioneered and pushed the way for online gaming as a whole.
I mean, Halo was the progenitor for Call of Duty and all these other just pure online versus things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's
But anyways, how this kind of all wraps around too is that people like how you were saying Ninja and playing these first person shooters now. It's they have unlimited chances. They have respawn. They have all this stuff. But yet they can't handle playing a game like Battletoads, where you literally have 3 chances, and then you have 3 continues per. Or you have 3 chances per continue, and you have 3 continues, and if you can't beat the game within that, that's it. You start from the beginning, and so a lot of these people you could be the world's greatest first-person shooter of games where you have unlimited chances. Well, try playing something that you don't have unlimited chances.
Castle Quest.
Yeah, but I suppose it would go the same way for you guys, too. You guys would not survive in any competitive gaming scene anywhere.
Oh, God, no.
Well...
Are you kidding?
Here's the difference.
Outside of maybe you competing with Tetris stuff.
Here's the difference, though, of that is, if there's one thing to kind of play the game, just to play it to try to beat it, competitive, I think, is something completely and utterly different.
Kind of like speedrunning.
Well, but that's all Fortnite is competitive.
That's true.
Oh, it doesn't actually have its
own.
There's no
Fortnite
campaign,
is just
story.
Fortnite is just a competitive shooter. That's it.
That's where this current
Even Call of Duty is just like an online multiplayer,
Yeah,
like versus deathmatch stuff.
Wasn't that one of the big complaints too about Call of Duty, like the most recent one where there was no campaign mode, or what was that Battlefield or not Battlefield,
no idea.
Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2 didn't have a campaign mode.
There
was something that
there'll always be something. There'll always be something people bitch about.
Well,
so.
there was just something recently that came out where there was no campaign mode.
It
was
could have
just
been the
online.
Star Wars
The
one.
Titanfall games, I don't think had a campaign.
The first one did, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, but see, I know the Call of Duty games did because I remember
Until like Black Ops and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think those are the ones that don't have any like campaign modes.
Yeah, but I mean that's where this current gen of games is kind of shifting, is towards PvP, which is unfortunate because well, maybe not unfortunate.
No, because there's still plenty of like companies that are doing both.
That's true.
I mean, a great example is Gearbox with Borderlands. While they are encouraging multiplayer, like playing, they still have local split screen in Borderlands 3. So that's still a thing. They're like one of the only companies that's still doing it.
Has Borderlands ever been a PvP?
Well, but it's still it's still multiplayer based. They want you to, it's like Diablo and stuff.
Co-op.
Where they want you to go with the 4-player experience and stuff like that. So they still want you to do that, but they've also got it set up. The entire game is still able to be played on your own instead of just being only the multiplayer aspect.
Right.
Whereas most games, a lot of stuff is going, well, you're doing multiplayer and that's it. Now whether you want to choose to competitive or co-op is where you can start trying to fine tune stuff.
But a lot of them don't even have a co-op anymore. It's just competitive. Like I said, those Battle Royale games, you have Fortnite, you have Apex Legends, and Overwatch, and they're all just competitive.
No, because
I don't think that any of them have
Apex Legends, you're on a team of 3.
But you're still fighting other people.
You're not. Yeah.
There's no campaign.
I don't think there's a campaign.
But there's no PvE aspect. No,
that's what I mean.
But it's still co-op because some of them are still team based.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely.
Yeah, maybe it was the wrong wording, but I meant more of like where cooperative to me means cooperative against the computer.
Oh, okay.
Not cooperative against other people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why I was huge into Destiny for the longest time. Is because I hated Crucible. The PvP aspect was absolutely trash. A lot of it could have been because of the balancing of the game and how... and it's the same complaint I have with every PvP game I've ever played. People are such bitches when they play. It's always got to be, I have to have the best stuff, and I'm going to be a total asshole to you when you die. Like, I'm just going to be a huge prick. There's never anyone that's been nice to me when I play PvP. Like, and the language is going to be a little saucy here, but there was one time in Destiny, I remember, I got my ass handed. I was maybe like 3-26. I was really bad. And I remember as soon as the match was over, I got a message from one of the people on the other team, and they said, "Dude, you really suck at this game. You should stop playing and kill yourself, faggot." I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was like, first of all, I'm not the only player on the team. And I'm like, you're taking this game that fucking seriously? And ever since then, I'm like, dude, I am not playing PvP for anything.
That's my big thing.
Like, people are such trash. Look at the Smash community.
Yeah.
Smash Brothers is one of the most toxic communities to play in.
Well, wasn't it...
League of Legends is the only one that I can think of that's worse.
Wasn't it...
Oh my God.
Wasn't it Halo? Because I had never heard about this before Halo, but it's like when somebody dies, the whole teabagging thing.
Yeah, but that was just funny.
But I'm just saying, though, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like kind of rubbing it in somebody's face, like killing them.
See, but there was always, to be honest, even like back on like when you played against your brother or anything like that, did you guys ever trash talk while playing in the same room?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, that's all that was just the next step, but like it's just one of those things where that line has been gradually pushed so far that if you're not being like an absolute extreme like level of it, it's basically people just flat out ignore it and stuff like that now because it's just one of those things. Well, it's there. Yeah.
There's never a middle ground.
Yeah.
It's either you're so basic at the game that it's not even fun because all you're doing is getting pitted up against these pros. And it's like, I know there are certain games that'll actually, it has like a level system where you face people of your same rank, but even then, like, you're still going to encounter those people that are just, I'm a professional, but I'm just gonna start a new thing, and now I'm just gonna kill a bunch of newbies. Like, and it's like that. I absolutely just hate playing against people in general because people cheat, and people are just generally terrible in general.
That's why, generally speaking, I don't play online.
No.
I don't like playing online.
I truly don't. Where was I going with this? I had a thought.
Well, it all started back in 1929 when we were talking about the Black Tuesday. It was
Tuesday.
It was bad day. A bad day in history.
Generally speaking.
I'm just kidding. We're talking about Free Comic Book Day and games.
Free Comic Book Day.
Games nowadays versus back then. People having trouble with Super Mario Brothers.
So my brother and his niece my niece stopped by, and she had played the Punch-Out on the Wii, the remake.
Oh, sure.
And she loved it. She's like, I've always wanted to play the original one. And it was just so fascinating to me watching her try to beat Glass Joe and, like, getting her butt kicked. Like, she didn't understand how to dodge, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the original Punch-Out and the remake function exactly the same. She's played Super Punch-Out, too. You have to hold up and hit the button to punch, to punch high, and you dodge and stuff, and I'm thinking, but she also played with motion controls, I think, on the Wii. Now that I think about it.
There is also a very, like, different feel to the game, like, especially with those to, like, Punch, the old one versus the new one.
Mm-hmm.
The new one is so smooth in comparison to, like, the NES game. And, like, I'm not saying, like, the NES game is choppy or anything like that, but, like,
there's a weirdly stiff.
They are very different in the way, like, it feels. Because, obviously the hardware makes a huge difference for that.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But, I mean, she did eventually grasp it, and she kicked Glass Joe's butt. I think she beat Von Kaiser. Oh, no, wait. I remember she lost a decision on Glass Joe.
Lost on decision?
Lost by decision against Glass Joe, by the way.
You can lose by decision to Glass Joe?
Yeah. It was pretty funny. I was like, oh, I didn't think that was possible.
Wow.
Sorry.
That's gotta be an accomplishment. Like that. If games could be retrofitted for trophies,
that would be one.
That would be a trophy. Lose by decision to Glass Joe. That would be a silver trophy, in my opinion. Holy cow, that would be a hard one to actually get.
I'm about to say, it's hard. I don't even know how you lose by decision. It's just getting knocked down more and taking more damage?
Yeah, you either have to take more damage and just not throw a punch and just make it to the end of the match.
Wow.
I guess.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
I wonder if there's a run you could do where you just have to win every match by decision. Do you think you could do that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You think you could pull that off?
Probably.
God, that
because all it would just be is knock him down twice and then just don't take damage. And then just let all the rounds go by.
I feel like that would be easier said than done. Against some of these guys.
Against some of them, it might
your
be,
dodging would have to be, like, perfect the entire time.
It would have to be. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was my one memory from this past Free Comic Book Day, was watching her play Punch-Out and start to put together the pieces of how to beat people, and it was just very fascinating to me. I always love that kind of stuff.
Well, and one of my favorite memories from this past Free Comic Book Day was there was a young kid playing Super Mario Brothers 3, and so and he didn't know like any of the secrets and stuff like that, and so it showed him like where the warp whistle was in World 1-3 and where the warp whistle was in the castle in World 1. And so when you use the warp whistle on the warps, like when you use it at first, it'll take you to the warp screen.
Right.
But then if you use the whistle again on the warp screen, it'll automatically take you to
the next
World
tier.
8.
Yeah.
Well, no, not to the next tier, to the final.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And so I did that, and basically then was like, okay, and now you're in World 8. You are in the last level of the game, and the look on his face was just like, I'm at the last level of the game.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like, yeah, you're a Nintendo Pro, and it's like it's just like that feeling of like I accomplished something, and I can go home now, and I am super happy about this.
That's because there really aren't things like that in games anymore, where there's like secrets to skip all sorts of levels and stuff. You know, it's really that's kind of a foreign concept now. But I suppose a lot of games these days aren't really stage-based like that anymore.
No, they're not stage-based. But even if they were, I'm willing to bet that you probably could get like a warp whistle in one of the games, but it would probably cost you like $9.99 in DLC.
Well, if it's EA anyway.
Yeah, frickin' EA with their DLC.
Oh man.
Oh jeez. But Yeah, that's another thing too. I remember when like even just not Nintendo, but like PlayStation 3 games, like when everything was included in the game, and if there was like a DLC pack or something like that, it was basically above and beyond stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was so much like other stuff that you could get.
Yeah.
But nowadays it almost feels like the DLC is like stuff that was supposed to be in the game that they're just basically charging like
Yeah.
Just additional.
You're essentially paying $60 for half a game.
Exactly.
And now you have to microtransact to get the rest of it.
To get the rest of the game.
That was one thing.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, Kevin and I discussed that at one point a while back about how like this era of gaming is let's put out half of a thought, see how it does, and then give them the rest when we feel like it.
Yeah, but if you also adjust like prices for NES games, like with inflation, they actually cost more than modern games do.
It's true. A lot of NES games did cost a lot.
Yeah,
like for like what was like $50 or $60 for those systems, it ends up being like 80 or 90 for modern. So we're paying less for games now than we used to.
Yeah, but you also have to think about what goes into making a game and the supplies and stuff like that. They're cheap as can be.
Well, a lot of companies now don't even have to put out a physical copy.
No, and they don't.
So I mean, their cuts of cost right there.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of other developers just their games are $30, $40 as opposed to $60 or $70 because I'm not paying for materials.
But yeah, and supply and demand. I remember when Super Mario Brothers 3 was in stores, and stores were charging like $69.99 for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm saying there were
Super Nintendo games back
like
when they came
Earthbound
out.
was ridiculous, and
Yeah.
like other like N64 games were crazy too.
Yeah, those were normally $70, I think.
And what was it? Banjo-Kazooie with the expansion cart was what 80, 90,
maybe it
something
was,
ridiculous like that.
Yeah, games used to be super expensive.
Well, it always cracks me up. That's like I always hear people bitching that like, yeah, games are expensive. They're expensive. They're expensive. I'm like,
It's
in the grand scheme of things, they are not. Now, granted, yeah, like some companies, like oh God, what is it? Like Koei is pretty bad for it. Oh, we're gonna release 50 different fucking costume packs for Dynasty Warriors 3, and each one of them is gonna cost like $2, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, when you're looking at it like that and on like a Super Nintendo or PS1 game, that would have been unlockable content. But at the same time, you also wouldn't have 200 characters to be able to play
you wouldn't
as.
be able to, yeah.
I mean, I fall for that every time, to be honest with you. Like, in the Tales games, I'm just like, it's a few dollars to make them look cooler. Like,
Yeah.
I always buy the stupid little costume.
Believe me, I've been going back and forth on Berseria for that. I'm like, I want these costume packs. I don't want to pay
Yeah,
that.
right? I do it a lot for some reason, just because I like games that do it for aesthetic rather than,
Yeah.
like,
Necessity.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of that, actually, what do you guys... Did you watch the new Final Fantasy VII trailer?
Yeah.
That new one? What did you think? It looks really pretty.
It looks pretty. And I'm just going to say this because I don't know if you guys have seen it. I have no issue with the way Barrett speaks.
I heard that there's a big hubbub about that.
How does he speak? I don't really remember.
So,
Is it like...
remember in like the original game, Barrett always spoke in the yo's and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess people who have never played FF7
Are now taking offense to
are
it.
taking offense to it because it's speaking in a stereotypical way for
Like
a
Yeah.
black man, and it's like, well, you've never played the game, you don't know what type of character he is. Barrett is by far the most likable character in
And
there.
I love Barrett.
He's a leader. He's the leader of a resistance. He has his own business, which is doing amazing. He is raising his friend's kid as his own after both her parents die. Well, mom died, and then later you find out Dine's still alive, and then he dies. But
Yeah.
and like
I hated that scene.
and like yeah, like he's doing all this shit. Like compared to Cloud, Barrett is fucking amazing.
Well, and
Cloud is this little emo shit that needs to be shut up.
And even back then, I mean, people, when Final Fantasy VII came out, they didn't have a problem with how Barrett was talking, and Barrett was actually one of the most beloved characters from, I would say, all of the Final Fantasy series.
Although I didn't know this. Apparently, when it was re-released at one point, they only had a very short time when it was originally released. They only had a short time to translate the game.
Yeah, a single person did
like
it within
3 months.
2 weeks.
And like
Jesus Christ.
so
weeks,
like
one person.
there is actually like the newer versions that have been released on like PS4 and I think Switch have all of the retranslated dialogue. So if you actually go back through and play it, the dialogue is not how you remember it.
Oh, like when he talks about the big old pizza?
Yeah. Well, and then, like, I guess they fixed, like, audio bugs and stuff like that. Like, so they've actually, like, re-releases of FF7 have actually fixed a lot of, like, the issues with the original versions.
Apparently they didn't fix the graphics, because that game is still ugly as sin.
It was, for the time...
It wasn't great. Even at the time, it was ugly as fuck, dude.
See, I didn't have an issue with it.
I mean, at the time, I didn't either. Until, like, FF8 came out, and then I saw how they looked, and I'm like, dude, FF7 looks like trash.
Okay, yeah, but that was still, like, their first full push to that style.
It was the first 3D. That was the first 3D Final Fantasy game.
So, yeah, back to the trailer for the remake. I think it looks really good, and honestly, I'm actually impressed with the voices they picked. And I got, like, although the voices for this trailer were different than the voices in the original remake trailer.
Really?
And, like, there's been other graphic upgrades and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Although they haven't... Kind of worried because they haven't really talked about if they're still doing episodic or not. It
probably is. I'm willing to bet it's going to be broken down by disc. So it's disc 1's going to be 60, disc 2 is going to be 60, disc 3 is going to be 60. Although disc 3 maybe not. Because disc 3 was really only
the fighting. Remember, they're also rearranging and expanding on the story.
Oh, maybe then.
So who knows?
But it's one of those things where I'm excited for it. I really like the way Cloud looks. I think his design is actually really cool, but...
For some reason, I just can't stop thinking about it. A Final Fantasy VII a PC port. Oh
my god! What a slap in the face that one was.
Oh my god,
that was so great.
Just the way that he said PC port and then how he laughed. It was like such a belly busting laugh. And he's like puts his hands on his belly and he looks back like and he's laughing. It's like, yeah, we really fooled you.
Oh, although speaking about the remake, I do have a quite like. Did you in the trailer? Did you see him use cross slash?
Mm-mm. Maybe I don't know. I watched it very briefly, and
that's
I don't know if
like the thing I'm worried about with this one. Turn-based games lend themselves to like abilities like that, and the summons. How is that going to work in a game that's going to be real-time combat now?
That's right. They're going completely away from the ATB, aren't they?
Yeah. So like,
what's it going to play more like Tales?
See, I don't know if it's going to play more like Crisis Core or 15.
Oh, maybe.
And like the big question is like, so are they going to do the Final Fantasy 12 version where when you do a summon it replaces the characters and stays out and fights for a bit? Are they doing it'll just pause combat and then you watch a cinematic and then it just goes, or
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean,
because I can't imagine doing Knights of the Round.
Yeah.
And then getting rid of stuff like, Mime and 4X Summon and stuff like that.
I have a feeling they would break that. They would not let that cycle happen. That was the
best thing ever, though.
That was so stupid.
You ever sat through that, Paul?
Mm. Knights of the Round it's not as bad as Eden from FF8.
Eden is the worst thing. It's like a half hour.
It's not. FF8, the final summon you could get was Eden. It was literally a 3.5 minute summon. It literally 3.5 minutes.
Every time you summoned it.
Yeah, every time you summoned it. It was.
If you didn't max out the boost on that thing, you suck.
Yeah, you could fail that boost like 6 times and still get 255. But Knights of the Round was about maybe a minute to a minute and a half. But you could also mimic...
Double summon.
You could double summon, so you had W summon. You could summon it twice in a row. And you could have characters use Mime, which copy the previous thing, so you could do it 4 times in a row. It was ridiculous. It was the most broken shit you'd ever seen.
Oh, wow.
That's why I Sorry, Kazzy, I know you love Final Fantasy VII, but I do not have a sentimental bone for it. I thought the game... It's not as good as people tout it to be.
You think it's overrated, huh?
As hell. I did not like it as much as I liked 8 or 9.
See, honestly, I'm in like the odd one out because I loved 8 and everyone else seems to hate 8. So
I think because people are so...
It's very divisive.
Yeah, they're so divisive on, like, is he dead? Is he not dead? Like, what?
Well, not just that. Is like after 7 did kind of set a standard, and then 8 basically said, "Yeah, fuck that standard. We're doing this instead."
But see, 8 I feel took so much from 7. 8, like, Squall was just a more whiny Cloud.
Yeah.
That's because he actually talked instead of just nodding.
And at least Squall was Squall in this one, or whatever. His memories were his, or whatever the fuck.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't, because they all grew up in the orphanage.
But nobody remembered.
And then we go to space!
Space! But, like, 7 just... I'll admit, 7 made more sense when we got the whole story. Like, through Crisis Core and all of that. Like, the story made a lot more sense.
Crisis Core was better than 7.
I agree, actually. But it's like 7... I don't know, like... I know it was pivotal in gaming when Eris died. Because that was, to a lot of people, the first time they've ever killed off a main character, which is completely unfounded, because they've done that in games before many, many times. I mean, Phantasy Star 4 did it with one of the main characters. Chrono Trigger, you lost the main character, and you could keep him dead if you wanted.
Yeah.
So it's like, it wasn't the first time a main character actually perished and stayed perished. But people, for some reason, credit Final Fantasy VII as killing off a main character. As, like, one of the first. Where was I going with this?
7.
Oh, but I just... Something about 7 just... I don't know what it was.
See, to be honest, as far as PS1 era RPGs go, Xenogears blows it out of the water. And that was actually supposed to be a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Until I get it was too different and it touched on subjects they didn't want to touch on or something like that.
Well, wasn't it very religious?
And political.
Yeah,
so
I could see in that era.
So they were just kind of like, yeah, this isn't Final Fantasy, but you can still do it. So, and then like Legend of Dragoon beats FF7.
Dragoon, I didn't care for. Volcano.
Yeah, you could shut that off.
No, it just. FF8 was good. I liked 8 because it was more of a love story. It wasn't so much focused on, I'm a whiny kid and I hate this guy. You know, it's just,
you stink, mister.
You stink, mister.
It's to be honest, 8 just reminds me of you two.
What do you mean?
What?
You're Squall, he's Cypher.
Yeah, that's true.
Douchebag rivals.
I'm alright. I win at the end.
They're best friends / I hate you. I'm always gonna one up you.
Frenemies.
That was the whole thing. Like, you gotta remember, they were both. They were
looking in a mirror.
They were the only two in the academy with gun blades. As soon as Cypher cuts Squall, Squall cuts Cypher in the opposite way.
I always wish you got Cypher as part of your team.
Yeah, he's better than Rajan and Fujin. So
of course,
that's true. Well, those are dumb.
But
9 I really, really enjoyed, but that was more because I liked the system, like the battle system and the equipment system and how you got skills through the equipment rather than, like, the junction system, I'm sorry, was completely stupid in FF8.
Now,
the GFs were
if it wasn't
dumb.
The only thing that holds the junction system back is it's too slow to build.
Even that, like, you could overpower yourself so early in the game.
Well, yeah, that's the
and
point.
it was so time-consuming. FF7, the materia system was okay, but goddamn was it a grind to get those fucking, like, materia to level up. And it's just, and then you had to worry about what equipment you had on to triple the growth and all this other shit, so you were hindering yourself power-wise. It was just, I didn't like the materia system either. Like, FF9, I thought, did it really well. So it's, like, in a weird way, the story was here nor there. I couldn't care two shits about the story.
The character designs and ugh.
I loved Vivi. I loved Freya. I thought she was cool as
Zidane
shit.
went Super Saiyan.
But I mean, Zidane is the bad guy's Kuja. The bad guy's Kuja. The bad guy's Kuja. Who the fuck is Necron? Like, who is this? And then he's your last boss, which you can't even lose against. It was completely stupid.
Well, you can't lose against the actual final boss in 7 either.
Well, I don't consider Sephiroth.
When you go to the one-on-one fight with Sephiroth, you automatically get Omni Slash, you automatically get the limit bar. You cannot lose that fight.
I feel like Saber Sephiroth is the actual true final boss. That's more of a cinematic, symbolic fight. Like, the fight against Necron is a legitimate final boss. All of your characters have re-raise. all of your characters have regeneration, so it's like you literally can't lose. But maybe that one's kind of the same thing. It's more symbolic than anything, because Kuja technically would be your final fight. I don't know. It was 9 was bizarre. But I digress. 3 times. 7.
It's like a digress inside a digress inside of a,
Oh, God.
of a digress.
This is like Inception of minds.
Yeah.
Free comic book day. I don't know.
Oh my God, is that what we were talking about? Whoa.
This has been a very roller coaster of an episode. I honestly don't have much more to say on it. I love going. I look extremely forward to going again next year. I love Rockheads. I love going. It's such a great thing. I'm glad we were invited.
So what would you want to do differently if and when we go back to Rockheads for Free Comic Book Day? What do you want to do that's like different than what we haven't from what we haven't done?
I got one.
Well, we always only ever bring NES games.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do other systems. I remember we tried it one year with a Genesis and a Super Nintendo, and it didn't quite do as much.
I feel like it didn't do as much for the channel, but you got a lot more people stopping because there was also games from their childhood that they remember on the Sega and the Super Nintendo as well, too.
Mario Kart. I mean,
yeah.
good God. Even Sonic the Hedgehog had quite a few lookers.
Mm-hmm.
We need more TVs. We only ever have the TVs. The 2, so we should have 2 NES, a Genesis, and a Super Nintendo, so that's 4 televisions set up.
Yeah.
God, that'd get crowded.
I was going to say, it does get crowded, though. That's the only problem.
Well, we'll figure something out, but did I steal yours? I'm sorry,
That's my big thing is, like, either drifting away and doing, Genesis, other stuff like that. I would obviously try to stick to cart-based stuff and not CD.
Mm-hmm. Oh, obviously.
Or do the other thing is, instead of bringing 2 NESs, do NES, Super NES, and N64.
Oh,
so the
strictly Nintendo.
Oh.
Do the progression of the
Yeah.
systems.
The evolution of Nintendo.
GoldenEye. Oh my God. Do you even think anybody would want to play GoldenEye right now?
I
No.
could beat Streets.
Streets 112, baby! I'm a fucking legend!
I am a legend.
So I'm
I
gonna say...
skipped 113, and I'm never gonna see 113. I'm 112, baby. 112 to the day I fucking die.
So, I've been imagining my best man speech at your wedding for years. And now I know what to put in it. I'm going to recite. And one of the lines in there. I'm not going to give away my whole speech, but one of them.
He's gonna have that
I'm going to
music
reference that very wonderful, fucking piece of scripture. Streets 112. I am a fucking legend. And God said, Streets 112. I am a fucking legend. Your family might not appreciate it, but I know you will.
He said it, and he knew it was good.
I knew it was good. Body armor. Look at that. Double tap. Double tap.
I already know I'm getting there on the perfect line.
Oh my God. Look at this line I'm making. Oh man. Look up Streets 112 in YouTube. It's funny as
Oh my
hell.
God.
That was so great.
No, I really like that idea about doing a the evolution of it. But yeah, no, I think that as far as N64, GoldenEye, that's one of those games where people, back when it came out, people played the hell out of that game. People love the hell out of that game. I think people still think fondly on that game. However, if they saw that game now on an N64, that game has not aged gracefully.
It
looks
is
terrible, and it's almost borderline, at least to me, it's almost borderline unplayable.
Well, especially now, if you're used to dual stick for one to look, one to move.
Yes.
That's not how it was. It was move with the analog and then up down with arrows and stuff. It was weird.
Yeah.
Unless
it
you were
was bizarre.
Unless you were holding the thing to get the reticle up, and then you could move that with the analog stick, but you didn't move when that was going on.
God, I forgot about that. That was such a...
And then you play Odd Job and duck and no one can hit you.
Yep, exactly.
You bunch of dicks. God, fucking GoldenEye.
Perfect Dark was better.
Perfect Dark was Nintendo as well.
Honestly, I didn't...
That's right, it was Rare.
It's the same company.
Oh, yeah.
I actually, to be honest, didn't play much on 64 other than Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and
Jet Force Gemini.
Jet Force Gemini, Armorines.
You were
was
more of
another
a
one.
PlayStation kid, weren't you?
Dreamcast and Saturn.
Oh, that's right, Saturn.
Yeah, they had all the systems that failed.
Yeah.
And yet, it's cult classic followings now.
And yet,
People love the shit out of them. They're still making games for Dreamcast.
and yet,
Yeah.
where are all your Sega Saturn cases?
Whoopsies.
Ooh,
I have the ones that matter. Panzer Dragoon Saga, Dragon Force,
Albert Odyssey.
Albert Odyssey.
You don't have a case for Albert Odyssey.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
you do?
Oh yeah, I bought that one a lot. Shining Wisdom, Shining the Holy Ark.
Oh,
That was when
okay.
I went back on my. I'm now going to recapture games that I remember playing as a kid, but
Oh,
never actually
gotcha.
bought, and now I have all those cases.
Oh, gotcha.
I just don't have the case for Guardian Heroes, and that was a
That's
mistake.
what it is. Guardian Heroes is what I was thinking. Yeah.
Dark Savior, that's another one that didn't survive the purge.
Oh.
I still can't believe you guys did that.
So painful.
Well, you had to understand.
You're an idiot.
Back then,
No, you were an idiot.
they took up so much room.
I know.
We didn't have the space for all those fucking cases.
You should have. You should
Ugh.
have.
I would have just put them in a box and then put the discs in the binder like you did.
You know, we had all the cases and boxes set off to the side at one point, and I think my dad at one point
Just said,
eventually just threw the bin out. That was a mistake.
Oh, you're in troubles.
That was stupid. Yeah.
Okay, if you could take any game from PS1 or well, we'll say PS2 or earlier, and give it the remake treatment that Final Fantasy VII is getting.
Phantasy Star 4.
Okay, why?
It's one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's one of my...
Do you think it would survive transitioning from that style to a modern style, though?
Oh, absolutely. It's because Phantasy Star is the series that kind of got me into Star Ocean. I love the Star Ocean series beyond anything. Like, well, I wouldn't say anything, because Zelda technically is one of my favorite series. But as far as, like, core RPGs go, the Star Ocean games are awesome because I love that blend of sci-fi, but yet still swords and magic and shit like that. Just like Xenosaga I love. But Phantasy Star 4 was the first one that ever introduced that concept to me of like the like robots and magic and all that shit, and it was just such a beautiful game, and the way they tied together that series was just, it was magical. I think it would do really well.
What about you, Paul?
As far as like a remake, like HD of...
Ground up, fully rebuilt for modern systems.
Kind of like what they're doing for FF7.
PlayStation 2.
Or earlier.
Or earlier.
It can be anything PS2 or earlier.
Well, he's thinking, so what about you?
That's such a tough question.
See, for me, Xenogears, because I would love to see the true ending because...
Wasn't disc 3 rushed or whatever?
There's only 2 discs.
I'm sorry. The ending was rushed.
So basically, like, they were developing it, and then they were basically told, you have no more money, we're not going to fund it anymore, this game needs to get out now. So basically, the entire second half of Xenogears is basically a visual novel.
Oh.
It's just you reading. And, like, there were supposed to be entire segments you were supposed to go and do. I would love to see everything that they were planning with modern graphics and being able to control the gears in, like that style. It'd be amazing.
You know, that's one thing that that's always like super disheartening is when you see franchises that kind of drop off before they're concluded. Too Human was one where it's like the first game set up such a good series and a good concept, but like that, what happened to that? Like that entire series, like
because
that
they used the engine and they weren't licensed to use the engine, so they lost a lawsuit.
Ouch.
So that developer went bye-bye.
Who was the developer for that one? Do you remember?
No, you.
So, I can just look it up.
Yeah,
I'm
I
an idiot.
can't remember.
All right. Well, anyway, what about you, Paul?
So a game reimagined from the ground up. I think this one had so much potential, and I really wish that they would go back to the series, but obviously they never will. But the original Clock Tower. I honestly think that
Oh my
game,
god, that could be amazing nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not saying like First Fear. I'm saying like the very first PlayStation 1 that we got, Clock Tower 1 with but I feel like seeing Scissorman would like it really has a lot of potential. The story, the absolute sheer Panic.
Scissor Man.
Yeah, sick.
Oh, see what I did there? Sick burn, bruh. I feel like there's so much potential, and it's just they could go back to it and really make it just an incredible, like, just survival horror game.
I feel like that game, but like in the way they did Resident Evil 7,
The VR.
like the VR
Yeah.
or that first person would translate beautifully.
Oh, absolutely.
And then do like eventually if they ever did do like a haptic system where you could like touch and you get like the scissors through the chest or whatever and your thing shinks when you're hiding in the closet. That would be so cool.
Oh my god, that would be terrifying.
That would be cool.
Could you imagine us walking and all of a sudden the scissors just come through the walls?
Just that would be so neat to see, especially since this is such an era of jump scares and stuff like that. I mean, what would be more terrifying than hiding in a closet to see Scissor Man coming and hearing those shears and the fucking surround sound just coming by you and then leaving, and then he comes back and gets you. You're like, oh fuck.
Or like you're hiding in the bathroom and he jumps through the frickin' shower door, like,
Yeah,
and then stabs you. Oh god.
that would be so cool. That's a good one. I like
And there was nothing quite like, and it still terrifies me to this day, the times where I would be like in like a box or something like that, a cardboard box, and Scissor Man's kind of like walking around it, and he like starts turning around, but then it's like he slowly comes back to it, and then you just see the shears, and when they go down, it's like you just want to just like scream.
Yeah.
You're just like, no! Like, I was hiding! You were supposed to find me!
That's awesome. Yeah, that would be a good one. I would like to see
So
that.
I truly think that it's like the whole like Clock Tower series, like it's one that they could go back to, but it's so obscure at this point that I don't think that they would ever seriously consider. Like,
Yeah.
There's no way that they would ever make a remake of it. So
I could almost see them doing like a Fatal Frame with like on the Switch or something where you
Fatal
like
Frame would be interesting.
where
Yeah.
because you had to take
Taking
pictures with the
pictures.
camera obscura or whatever, and you could like
Mm-hmm.
with the
That's how
tablet
you-
or
that's
something
how you
even you
revealed-
could take the picture. It'd
Yeah.
be really neat.
You revealed the ghost that way and
Yeah.
made them. You would kill them basically by
Yeah.
taking their picture.
That would be really neat to see. Okay, what's a game you think like you would like to see another one in a series? Like there are so many series that have ended. Like I said, Phantasy Star. That the online games haven't ended, but the main series games did. But that's not my choice. But what game would you like to see them like pick up and continue? Kind of like what they did with Mega Man. How
Yeah,
Mega
for me,
Man all of a
that's
sudden
easy.
got 9, 10, 11. Like
It's so easy for me.
yeah,
Legacy of Kain.
yeah.
That story
that's right.
still isn't finished, and we're never going to see the sequel.
Ugh. Yeah.
I mean, the last game was PS2. I mean, granted, they did like Nosgoth, which was a competitive shooter for PC, but that doesn't
Lame.
count. And then like the one game that was being developed for 360 and PS3, I think it was, got canceled. So it's like, but
Yeah.
that's a story. Like the story of Kain and Raziel isn't even finished, and
That's so
yeah, so it sucks.
That's a tough one even for me actually. Now that I was thinking about it, because like especially in the PS2 era, you had the Wild Arms games.
Yeah,
They
that'd
had
be
5
kinda
Wild
fun.
Arms games. They had 5 Suikoden game. Well, 5 main series, and then they had Suikoden Tactics and shit. Grandia is another series that would be awesome to see another one of. Breath of Fire even ended
Oh, yeah,
ended
that-
with 5 Dragon Quarter, which was an unfortunate ending. But like there's so many
Don't
good
you love the D cells?
Oh, shit, the D-dive system. What a... I did like Dragon Quarter. I really did. Or I wanted to, anyway.
I kind of liked the concept of you play up to a certain point, you died. Your next time through, things were mildly different because like
Yeah.
different aspects of the story you got it, but it just became so repetitive.
became tedious, and it was time management, and I hated it. But I wanted to love it more than I actually did. But, I'm going to say Wild Arms, actually. I would love to see a Wild Arms 6. Because I've always liked that...
The
Western style with but I want them to go back to true turn-based, not the hex system,
Yeah.
which they went to with 4 and 5.
I hated that.
I didn't like it either. It got really goofy. But I would love to see the turn-based again for a Wild Arms 6. That Western magical, the golems and shit. Like, that was so cool. What about you, Paul? Silent Hill.
It's an easy one. Yeah, Silent Hill. I can't think of anything else like immediately that I'm just so gung ho. Like I want to see a new game in the series made.
Pokemon!
No. Silent Hill, just for the fact that there's still a ton of potential there, and obviously when they had whetted our appetites with Silent Hills back in 2014, it showed that there was still plenty of life in the series, and that there was still plenty that they could do, many different ways that they could take the series, and now that Konami just kind of has the rights and is just letting the IP just kind of waste away, I feel like they need to capitalize on it. They need to not just make a damn pachinko machine with Silent Hill graphics on it.
Yeah.
They need to make a new entry in the Silent Hill series. I feel like what they were going to do with Silent Hills as well, being the plural that it was, I think they were going to try to be... They were going to try to actually tie everything into a larger universe. Like all of these anthology type stories where it's each one, with the exception of 1 and 3, having like being a direct sequel to 3 being the direct sequel to 1. But each story was in and of itself its own self-contained story, where there may have been Easter eggs in each one, so that there's kind of nods to the universe existing. But I think Silent Hills was actually going to try to explain that even though these are all different stories, it's all taking place in the same universe.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to connect those dots. And I still think that they could do that, and it would still... I don't think it would diminish the quality of the past games.
Absolutely
I think
not.
I think it would enhance, and people would actually love to go back to those old stories, knowing that that's what they were doing. I just feel like there's so much opportunity with it that it's just it's completely wasted in the hands of Konami.
I agree.
And it's always one of those things where it's like, I love what Konami has done in the past, but I will never ever again support Konami because of how bad they are with managing their IPs and what they've done. They are the true definition of cutting off their nose to spite their face. Like, it's just... That's literally what it boils down to.
At this point, they're also doing everything they can to try to rub dirt in Kojima's face.
That's what I mean. They're literally
like,
cutting
everything they can do to
literally cutting off their nose to spite their face. Like, they think that they're getting back at Kojima by doing what they're doing when it comes to like the Metal Gear franchise, and it's like, you are literally only hurting yourselves and the fans who want more Metal Gear Solid games. You are literally, because Kojima was working on Silent Hills with Guillermo del Toro, you are literally... You think that you're kind of rubbing it in his face that Silent Hill or a Silent Hills and Silent Hill story is not going to come out. You are literally only hurting yourself and your fans. Who are you trying to hurt?
Yeah.
Are you trying to hurt Kojima? Well, you're not doing a really good job, because he just went right on to Death Stranding with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. They just found a different outlet to do it. Like, it blows my mind where their mentality is. But then again, and this is kind of going off on a tangent, but this is the reason why Sega failed so miserably, is because Sega of Japan, their ways of wanting to hold leadership and be the successful one really comes back to just destroy them. Sega of Japan and Sega of America just could not see eye to eye, so instead of working together in order to destroy Nintendo, which actually at the time, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, they were winning.
Literally fought, because it was literally an us versus them mentality, and they could not stand one being more successful than the other. Actually, I take that back. Tom Kalinske, who was the president of Sega of America at the time, he knew that the only way that we're going to win is if we work together, and he was trying everything he could. Sega of Japan wanted nothing to do with that. They wanted to be the famous one. They wanted to be the more lucrative, successful company. They didn't want Sega of America taking over, which unfortunately it was, and so they did everything they could to just kind of queer everything up, and it just did not. It didn't work out, and obviously history has shown that obviously didn't work out. So, but
Yeah.
Konami is just. I will never understand that mentality of who they think they're trying to hurt because they're hurting us as a result of it. So yes, as predictable as it was, Silent Hill. Silent Hill all the way. It needs to be revisited. It's been 5 years since we've gotten technically 5 years since we've gotten a Silent Hill game. However, it's been a true 7 years since we've actually gotten an official Silent Hill game.
Damn. That is sad.
2012 is when Downpour came out.
But you never know. I mean, as time has shown, 10 years passed and we got sequels to games we never thought were coming out. So, MVC3.
What?
10 years.
It was 2011, yeah, that MVC3 came out, yeah. Yeah, and look at what they did with that.
One of my biggest gaming disappointments, but
yeah.
For me it was.
I just remember playing it when it first came out, and I was just so enthused with it, and
I liked it for about a week, but I
did too.
And it's funny because I always pictured myself as a fighting game guy. Like I liked fighting games. I really don't.
I used to be. Huge when I was a kid. You had Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, Street Fighter. That was really the golden age of fighting games back then when I was a kid. And so I was like, I love fighting games. And then I think after PlayStation 1, I just kind of started falling away from fighting games because it just wasn't the same. It was more so about fighting online and playing people online. It's I didn't really care for that whole aspect of it.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. That's just me, I guess. I know, obviously, the fighting game thing is huge. It's one of the biggest competitive things. The Tekkens and shit like that. But, yeah, that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Unless either of you guys have something else.
No, I can't think of anything. At least not for this.
No, we should probably just end it right here. Yeah.
Or I'll cut out this little bit.
We should probably just end it right here.
Hey, Paul, you think we should end it right here?
We probably should.
Let's throw the ending in.
That's right.
All right. Well,
We
hopefully.
should probably just end it
Oh,
here.
you fucking guy! This son of a bitch. Well, what are some series you guys wish would get revitalized or get the remake treatment? What are games you wish? I don't know.
Oh my god, you're really having some trouble here. So tell us.
The other one working.
What?
The other one doing the heavy
I'm
lifting.
the only one doing the heavy lifting. Well, maybe if you freaking lifted some weights once in a while, it wouldn't be so hard to do the heavy lifting.
And you lift weights and you're terrible.
I do, and I'm bad at it.
You are.
No, tell us, what games are in your mind? What games are you most nostalgic for? What system was your favorite? A lot of people talk about the Nintendo. Personally, mine, which actually shocks a lot of people, I would say Super Nintendo is actually my favorite system of all time. It's not Nintendo, even though I have a lot of nostalgia for Nintendo. Super Nintendo was by far my favorite system of all time. I love all the games. But were you a Sega kid? Were you a Nintendo kid? What system was your absolute favorite? What's the one that transports you back in time once you see it, once you start playing it, and it just kind of brings you back to those easier times?
What game is it that you plug it in, you see that screen, and you're no matter what, you could just plug it in and play it forever? Your eyes light up, like Symphony of the Night, where it's no matter how many times I turn that game on, I know I'm in for a good time.
What game is it?
What is it?
What is it? Blood.
What the fuck? But yes, there you go. Hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. Takes you right to our YouTube channel where you can watch us play our way through the NES library of 678 games.
And
shit.
You can watch us make complete and utter fools of ourselves.
You're already listening to us do it. Why not see it?
Every time, and without fail, we will sound like absolute morons.
Especially in this episode, because this one had no concrete fucking focal point.
Correct.
Whew, this was just one giant tangent.
This was painful.
Wow.
Only got one thing to say.
What's that?
I'm sorry you people had to listen to this.
Fair enough.
Hey. I come across a Sith every other day.
Oh, Jesus. Kill it! Kill it. We're done.
Next time. Well, not next time.
It's a war of attrition.
Save me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I could really go for an Obi-Wan cannoli.
Oh man, you can find us on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to us on this. I guess you're already listening to us.
And you
It's
can listen to it on YouTube.
That's
as well.
right. I post these on YouTube. You don't see anything, but you can hear it.
You may not see us, but we're there.
Always there, listening, like Alexa or Siri. Just always listening, always watching. You never know. One day we're gonna be in your mailbox. All right.
Okay, can we just no?
We're
done.
You just made it creepy.
He just jumped the shark. We're done.
Oh, this is the Power Trip Gaming Powercast
You were listening with
power. Fuck
We're
me.
gonna be in your mailbox.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Why? Why?